Laughing Brook. Poetry for sensual consciousness. Between a rock and a hard place, there the stream of life flows, all none the less. To gaze upon its beauty, I gaze upon the Milky Way, 1,000,000,000 stars that whipped this earth into being. At the fringes of it all, this earth on which I am, having become of stardust. Tectonic shifts, billions of years of life in the making, of oceans freezing and thawing, earth spilling its guts. And then I chanced. I chose to rise, to move, to grow, to become this who can speak and be aware and look up to the Milky Way that whipped me into being, to gaze upon its beauty and shape it into song. It is a miracle that you are listening to this podcast. And I don't mean that from a marketing perspective, even though I'm quite glad you do. I also don't mean it in any esoteric way. It's a miracle since you can only listen to this podcast because this planet Earth exists and there's a huge global ecosphere that is diverse enough to have brought forth us, humans. And we as a species are an expression of that diversity, having developed a form of consciousness that allows us to reflect about ourselves. The world, the universe, reflect about life as such. It is a miracle because no interplanetary collision has destroyed life on Earth over those 4 billion years of its existence. Scientists tell us that the chances for Earth to survive and thrive like this were rather slim. And yet, here we are. Some say we're just a product of chance, and this is what is called evolution. Spiritual traditions of all times and places speak of a creative power that initiated and intended everything, and that includes us, to become and live. Can you prove chance or any form of creation? But whichever way you prefer to put it, scientific or spiritual, whether you believe in some creator or in blind chance, it remains a miracle that we exist as we do, with this fantastic capacity to experience the world and reflect on it. In us pondering about the universe ponders about itself, looks at itself, becomes aware of itself. This poem was written in a moonless night on the island of La Gomera, where I stayed in a remote village and marveled about the band of the Milky Way above me. Ah, the beauty of the stars just never fails to enthrall me. I gaze upon the Milky Way, 1,000,000,000,000 stars that whipped this dust corn into being at the fringes of it all. This earth on which I am, having become of stardust, tectonic shifts, billions of years of life in the making, of oceans freezing and thawing, earth spilling its guts, and then I chose to rise, to move, to grow, to become this, who can speak and be aware and look up to the Milky Way that whipped me into being, to gaze upon its beauty and shape it into song. My name is Laughing Brook. I'm a poet, dancer, mystic, nature coach, and human whisperer. This podcast is independently produced by myself. Art needs expression and loves an audience. And this is why I'm investing time, thought, heart, effort, money, and love to give this podcast to you. If you like what you've been hearing and would want to support me, please leave a positive rating and a comment on whichever platform you are listening to this podcast. This helps others to become aware of it. Share it with friends. And most of all, come back for the next episode. This podcast will continue without any fixed schedule, as life happens and verses come along. So please subscribe to be in the loop and check back occasionally for any new poetry. For more info about me and things beyond this podcast, please check out laughingbrook.net. Thank you for listening and keep on flowing, bumping and jumping with the stream of life.